Good morning.
Hi Gordon, how are you today?
Well, full of surprises.
I can't stop.
Do you want to turn the vidcam on?
I'm already going. I'm recording this end, Gordon. Everything's loud and clear at 100%.
I've just turned my vidcam on. I don't know how, probably the backlight is too bright for you, but yeah, I just listening to part 4 and part 5 of Sean Maguire's Out of the Bag.
Oh,
And the attack by Richie Allen on myself and my integrity and the way I front myself on various websites. Unfortunately, I don't speak kindly of people who have destroyed hundreds of thousands of people's lives. I don't like to call them Right Honourable or Mrs. Criminal. You know, I probably swear a little bit by saying "ooh bugger."
the thing is, Gordon, the worst swear word I've heard you call these people are scumbuckets. Now,
That's right. And
now,
unfortunately,
but this Richie Allen, when he was talking to Sean Maguire, he was effing and blinding all the way through.
Yes,
he called you because I was up most of the night because I've done a lot of research on this guy.
And me.
He called you arrogant to the extreme, offensive, attacking people. All you're doing, Gordon, is attacking these scumbags that have been robbing us blind for the last 40 years for trillions of pounds.
Yeah,
but it's worse than that. He said he found that by exposing Andrea Davison, it was distasteful.
Yeah, look.
I mean, so who is he protecting?
Well, he's protecting the people that Andrea Davison works for.
Exactly.
Because when you're a researcher, which he isn't, because other than his technical ability to go on a radio show as a presenter, I've not seen any sort of technical expertise that the man has got when it comes to recovery of forensic documents.
Nothing.
And when you make an opinion on a radio show which has a platform to listeners, you should be very accurate in your statement of accusations.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, he's done no research that I can see, because when he gave Andrea Davison the platform to appear on his show, as did David Icke, what was not given out to the listeners was the background to Andrea Davison, the background to his David Icke's involvement, and how far they go back to the late 1990s.
Well, he shared a house with David Icke in Wembley.
Yes, yeah. I said, is that throughout my life, I've always been trained to show where each document shows lineage of accountability, whether it be individual or collective. And that's with my military training in the Royal Air Force, and further with the safety of the people that worked under me on the gold mines, because a very dangerous environment. And so when you get people like Richie Allen attacking me for being abusive, which I ask him to show me where I've been really abusive.
There's no evidence.
I don't think
of
he
it.
can.
There's none, Gordon. None.
But, no, well, I've always treated people with respect and dignity.
Yes.
But when I find out that I'm dealing with scum and thieving scum, then I do, because I'm an ex-serviceman, take great disregard into those people that walk around this planet with a title of Right Honourable. And I will continue as best as I can to make people aware of who the government are and who the senior politicians interact with people like Andrea Davison and the criminal network that she operates for.
And we are 100% behind you, Gordon.
Really, I hope so. And what I intended to do with yourself today is not just outline Rich Allen's mistakes in his ability to conduct professional research and recover forensic documents, is to show that the latest reports, which were published by the Daily Post in Anglesey, was the second part of a POC, Proceeds of Crime Order, where, unknown to the general listeners, is that the first part, because she failed to appear, where she gave an excuse that she wasn't prepared to face a jury, not a judge, a jury of 12 of her peers.
Yes.
Where there was no conflict of interest with a particular judge because it was before a jury. The only instruction given by the judge, Parry, was that the 13th charge would not be given to the jury to question. So she, when she was found guilty, unanimously found guilty by every single member of the jury. The second part was that she was given a POC order to repatriate money in 4 bank accounts in Cyprus, which has never been declared to the people because they haven't got the fraud group synopsis of evidence used in her prosecution, which I have through a Freedom of Information request.
Yep.
And so, you know, the last article by the Daily Post was on the 19th of December 2014, where it clearly says in the article headline is, fraudster who fled the country to avoid jail time must pay £170,000 or face another 2 years in prison.
I saw
now,
that, Gordon.
This is the man.
Yep.
This is the woman. Richie Allen is,
protecting.
Is an ex-intelligence officer and paedophile investigator.
Yes.
And that's without doing 10 minutes research on the history of what she was actually prosecuted for. And so I don't want to discredit free radio to the listeners. What I object to is I've never been given an opportunity, and I asked for that opportunity with Richie Allen, is to give my side of the story of the woman that he gave a platform to, claiming that she was an ex-intelligence officer.
And he declined it.
Pardon?
He declined.
Of course he declined because...
Well, David Veitch asked him a very, very straightforward question.
Exactly. Yeah.
About whose story do you believe, Gordon Bowden's or Andrea Davison's?
Yes.
And that's when he launched into abusing you and calling you all these names, which is totally unfounded.
Because attack is the best form of defense.
Yes.
You know that, don't you?
Yes.
As a military man, I know it better than most. However, when somebody ridicules my professionalism as being a researcher, I do take it to heart because I'm just trying to protect the people of this country.
Gordon,
Nothing more.
I can tell you now, mate, there's only 2 men in my life that I've ever trusted 100%. It's my father, God rest his soul, and it's you.
Oh,
so when people
so much,
diss you...
I have walked this planet as a loner.
Yeah.
But I will stand up for those people who have no concept of the industrial fraud, theft and money laundering that's being conducted and protected by some of our highest political representatives. And they are extracting the urine out of us normal people. And that's that's my goal, is not just to attack people like Andrea Davison. She is part of a network, a very sophisticated, long-serving network that's operated in my research over 40 years. And to dismantle it in 1 week, I can't do that. However, with the help of people that click on to what's happening, they can then spread the word as they are doing.
Yes.
And say, I don't know whether many of the listeners on your YouTube video can understand. I understand. I can just see from the backlight of my webcam, this is not coming through very well. But it's the backlight from the light from outside.
Well, it's okay, Gordon, because when I process this Skype call, I'm going to put the appropriate images in. And I can tell you another thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, and I'm talking about thousands of people now, when your name comes up on my YouTube channel or Facebook, it lights up like a Christmas tree.
Well, I hope that that the people out there that listen to your webcam and YouTube videos will understand that we are talking about defending the financial integrity of this country and exposing those that are stealing from it. And this is not millions and billions, this is hundreds of billions.
Well, I mean, Gordon, over 40 years, let's face it, this could run into trillions.
Well, it is.
And this is how, you see, a lot of people, Gordon, when they hear about these trillion-pound frauds, what they fail to understand is it's their money. It's their tax money that's been stolen.
You see, if you have a headline on a news report saying the Royal Bank of Scotland lost £800 billion in 12 months. Now, that money was real and it went somewhere. But what the Royal Bank of Scotland directors don't make known to the public is where the money went. Who received that money? And it's only when you understand fake oil, gas and mining companies and those companies' directors who are the funders and donors of the Conservative Party and the Labour Party, you will get a better understanding of how you control the lips of politicians and their political party agendas. It's a game, and it's a dirty, filthy, stinking game that affects every single man, woman and child in this country and beyond its borders.
And you've got people like Richie Allen,
yeah,
shares a house with David Icke, and now this David Icke is ripping off the public. I mean, he has huge events, and
yeah,
he's into shape-shifting lizards that are mind controlling us from the moon, for crying out loud.
Well,
I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up.
Well, he is.
Yes, exactly. And people are buying it.
There is some substance to his allegations about certain criminal activity.
Yes, because
in the paedophile world, but that's also controlled by our intelligence services,
exactly,
who have used that to blackmail politicians to do their bidding.
Yep.
And we can't. We are just small individuals who have seen a different light into where things have gone wrong in this country.
But there's lots of us now, Gordon.
Yeah, I know there's lots of us. And when it comes to standing up in public, I'm not scared to face anybody in public. Now, I have
Gordon, we were there. I've seen you, mate, at Trafalgar Square and outside the BBC.
I'm scared of nobody, mate.
No.
I don't care who it is.
Exactly.
And I was given a heads up by Peter Bromfield that the Conservative Party have ordered an investigation through what's his name, Osborne.
Oh, Bullingdon boy Osborne.
Yeah, and others to start an inquiry into my works and pensions investigation into me, and I think that's been done to discredit anything that I've ever done in my life.
Yes,
And I told Peter, and Peter Bromfield's got this from the inside, So I don't mind it going on here because it's my protection. To show that David Cameron must be worried because I've named him in the £1 billion fraud with Cairn Energy and Vedanta Resources. You understand?
Oh, totally.
When a politician, including a prime minister, acts above and beyond his remit to act on behalf of a public listed company, to force a government, and the Indian government, to conduct a transfer of cash of £6 billion to a company where, if you check their corporate financial reports, where's the money gone?
Well,
where's the money gone?
You've got.
Why did their share price drop through its backside after that deal was done?
Well, you have.
I mean, they had £6 billion. Surely the share price spike would have gone up, not down. And it's because the directors of those companies and the insiders all sold their shares.
Well, they're all protected. You've got Boris Johnson, you've got George Osborne, you've got David Cameron, all ex-Bullingdon boys.
Yes.
And suddenly they hold the 3 highest positions of the British government. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells you that the general public are not aware en masse of the corruption that exists at the very top of government. That's what it tells me. Is that people like myself and yourself, and even George, good old George Lise, is that we never get a platform to confront politicians to questions where we could conduct a Jeremy Kyle style. Don't give them truth serums. Yeah, just put them in front of a lie detector test.
That's it.
To give them basic questions about their corruption and whether there's any substance to the allegations. That's all I'm saying, is that we don't get that chance. It's all controlled, where the questions that they're having to answer are never the real ones that we need to get them to answer.
And the unbelievable thing is, I mean, there's Richie Allen speaking to Sean Maguire, who was a lovely guy. And,
yes.
And Richie Allen is dissing the alternative media. Well, we're the alternative media, for God's sake.
Well, even he is, isn't he? He brings people on like Andrea Davison, who's talking about all these VIP paedophile networks. And so, without any substance or one document, he gives her the airtime, where she yada yadas for about half an hour or an hour without disclosing one name or one document that reflects upon her professional integrity or her qualifications or employment in the intelligence services. Nothing. So what he's got is, he's got somebody that was a mate of David Icke going back to the 1990s, who fled this country because she was caught as a fraudster and a forger and a Labour Party spy, because that's what she is, and a money launderer. They let her get out of this country without a passport, without any bank account access, and so she was spirited out of this country to avoid embarrassment to people like Tony Blair and David Cameron.
Well,
Simple.
And she was the one that was issuing the fake share certificates. I mean, it's
Yeah, well, they say, police don't give you the full rundown on anybody. However, through my own sort of research work, what I found was that I grabbed hold of a press release by the Derbyshire Police, which was showing the prosecution of a guy called Graham Mills, who was arrested at Manchester Airport as part of the Andrea Davison organised crime network. Now, I don't believe in repetitive coincidence, because David William Mills was living at her address when the police raided it. He wasn't in the property when they raided it, however, all his stuff was. So, I don't believe in repetitive surnames, especially when you get to David Mackenzie Donald Mills, who was interlocked with Silvero Berlusconi and the mafia. Money laundering. Do you understand?
Oh, I understand.
And then
I mean,
there's
it's just
Dame Barbara Mills, who was the head of the Serious Fraud Office when David Mackenzie Donald Mills was fronting for the Italian mafia, money laundering, out of 788 790 Finchley Road.
Pandora's box.
Yeah, and then she got promoted then to the head of the CPS,
of course,
Crown Prosecution Service. So you have interactive door slammers at the very highest level of protective authority, who are protecting the criminals of the higher order. No, they can arrest people for going in, send 5 people in 2 police cars to go and arrest, say, an Eastern European who has stolen 2 cans of lager from a supermarket, and chase him down the street with the blues and twos going, and then get a dog squad because he's disappeared into a hedge, and spend 6 hours looking for him. But then they'll put that on the TV. But steal 200 billion, nobody gives a damn. This is my sort of access to frustration, is that I just try my best. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Well, the thing is,
just
Gordon,
carry on.
You've been at this for 14 years. And, when I was first introduced to you through George Lees, that was a year ago.
Yeah.
Now, you can understand, I'm frustrated. I get angry.
Oh, I see you.
Fortunately for you, you've got a lot of patience. But I can remember the first video we made, which was a 3-way. George said, we can win this within 12 months. The 12 months is up, and on the 15th of June, we're all going to be outside the Royal Courts of Injustice.
Yeah, well, as I said...
Their time's up, Gordon.
I've got a meeting before that, as you well know.
Yes.
With 2 other victims, multi-million-pound organised crime, all linked to 788, 790 Finchley Road. of which Andrea Davison was directly linked. And so people like Richie Allen should hold back and be brave enough and professional enough to put the both of us on with Andrea Davison, is to question her integrity, to hide wherever she's hiding. I've got my own understanding where she is, based upon telephone numbers that I've recovered, is to look at where we can help the country understand if she has important information relating to VIP paedophile networks. She will be given the most protective screen surrounding her where no harm will come to her. Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
Is that once it becomes major media exposure, the protective circle extends, that if any hit happens to her, then the doors will slam down on people like David Cameron and Tony Blair. That's what I would hope, is that if she has this information, which she's always bleating about on her Twitter account under Andrea Davison at Before the Stars, if all this misinformation, which is a smoke and mirrors cover to divert the attention away from an organised crime network that she still belongs to, she's still operating for them,
of course,
albeit from wherever location. Because once you understand how high she goes in organised crime, she's just a lower administrator, but they found a part for her to play in other networks, put it like that, which I'm on the top of all the time.
Yep.
Is to follow them, and it's simple: follow the money.
Follow the money.
Yeah, it's very basic. But as I said, is that I would like an opportunity to answer those derogatory remarks made by Richie Allen, is to speak to him one-to-one, and then have a contest with our Miss Tara Andrea Davison.
Well, I've invited the Metropolitan Police. They've had me running around in circles because I contacted Daniel Turk.
Yes, I saw that.
He always says the same thing: show me the evidence, show me the evidence. I said, well, look, if we was to put all the hard forensic documents into a van and head towards London, I can guarantee you that we'd have an accident and a whole lot would go up in flames. So I said, you want to see hard forensic documents? I said, you meet me at St Pancras Station next week.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I can't leave Seaford. So I said, anyway, he gave me a phone number. I contacted the Met Police.
Yeah.
And I've laid down a gauntlet.
Yes.
And I'm expecting an ex-Met Police to contact me within the next few days. And I'm going to drag him down to St Pancras Station. Yeah. And he can see it with his own eyes. Now, if they refuse to come down, Gordon...
Well, I think it's... you know that we have a forthcoming meeting with the two victims linked to 788, 790 Finchley Road.
Yeah.
They lost in excess of 11, 12 million pounds. Now, that's minuscule when we're talking about hundreds of millions.
Sure.
But it still affects, multiple people other than the direct victims.
People have committed suicide over this, Gordon.
Yes.
And it's affected their family, their friends.
Yeah.
I start to get angry,
don't get frustrated by this, because it'll drive you to be distracted to other avenues of personal feeling. You have to stay, as I've always done as a military man, is stay focused, know where your targets are, know where their weakness is, and attack it time after time. And that's what I do. Once you know the boiler rooms, all you need to do is make sure that this is plastered everywhere. It cannot be replied to by people like David Cameron or Tony Blair, because they have been protecting these boiler rooms linked to the intelligence services and Mossad for 30, 40 years. The game is up when it comes to... they're not going to wipe that building out. It's not going to go into the TARDIS, Doctor Who's TARDIS, and disappear.
The reason I get frustrated and angry, Gordon, is that every day this fraud continues. People are losing their jobs. They're losing their houses. They're being kicked out on the streets. and it's totally unnecessary.
800 people a month are losing their homes to repossession.
800 people a month.
Yeah, you've seen one of the documents. Now I'm going to hold this up to the vid cam. I don't know if you can see it. That's a file, which is a Royal Courts of Justice file. It's about 4 inches thick, and it's segmented in compartments to 31 compartments. Which were our filed court documents against Andrea Davison, where her case against us for defamation was thrown out, and now we are trying to get our money back out of her through a recovery of assets in a court hearing. But when she failed to lodge her documents, obviously her case was thrown out, but ours was reinstated. Now, what we have to do is look at some of the documents that I filed. I did the complete filing of this and all the others. Peter helped me collate it in Gray's Inn Library, the lawyer's library.
Yeah.
Every time we filed at the Royal Courts of Justice, Peter Eyre helped me collate all the documents that I printed off, spending hundreds of hours downloading, duplicating every single page of multiple dossiers which have all been filed. So they're all public access documents which have been sealed by the stamp of the Royal Courts of Justice. So whenever somebody asks me for technical forensic evidence, it's here. You can't get any better because this was all done under oath.
Yes.
People don't understand that. However, in this one particular one, I'm just going to defile one section, which is section 21, and I'll try and hold it up to you, which is this one, and it's the application that I made under a Freedom of Information request. It's from Andrew West at cps.gsi.uk, cjam.net, and it was addressed to the clerk's room, BF Chambers at cjam.net, which is the barristers, what they call them, public access barristers network, where we got Mr. Christopher McNicholas. And it says, "Dear Mr. McNicholas, please find herein a copy of the indictment and a case synopsis, both of which were used in the trial of Andrea Davison at the Mole Crown Court. Regards, Andrew West, Crown Advocate, Central Fraud Division Team C." And within this document, which is 21 pages, I think it's 21. 21 pages, is the complete format. Now, Mr. Richie Allen has never given me an opportunity to give forensic evidence regarding Andrea Davison. And what this does is the prosecution synopsis of Andrea Davison, where it's Regina versus Andrea Davison, which started on the 4th of the 7th, 2012, and ended on the 25th of the 7th, 2012, in her absence. And it says, "This document has been produced in order to comply with the court's direction. It only gives an overview of the Crown's case. A proper case summary will be produced once the issues are known. Additional evidence will be served and disclosed is yet to be finalised. Court trial counsel for the prosecution has not yet seen the original exhibits or the unused material." And throughout this, in paragraph 3, she admitted in interview that she provided a mail forwarding service, that she had created virtual tenancies at her address, and she had produced false documentation. Generally, she said that the documents had a novelty purpose in relation to false passports containing her image and her use of numerous false names and details that she said she had poor credit and created identities to enable her to have funds. She had never informed the revenue of her occupation as effectively a false document factory, and had never paid tax on her income. So there in itself tells you what this person is.
Yes.
Then 5, a search of her home address at 32 Bangor Street Why Fell in Hell, North Wales, was executed on the 13th of January 2010, where the exhibit is S76. The only person present was Andrea Davison. A large amount of documentation was found and seized, articles and exhibits 76 to 103. It is the Crown's case that these documents, taken together, show the purpose of the documentation she produced was for fraud, and she must have known this to be the case. And so, I mean, I could spend 2 hours just running through this. But to give you an example of count one, this count avers that on the 13th day of January had in her possession or under her control a number of articles for the use in the course, or similarly a passport in the name of Van Arden. Miss Van Arden used a woman in North Wales as a mail forwarding service. Her passport never arrived, and then exhibit S35. Several false identification documents and utility bills were found in this name, some with the defendant's photograph, a mobile phone recovered with a sticker reading Van Arden on it. So then Long Nguyen is an identity on a passport, which she also used. And Vladimir Livovichkin, it's another one. What I've got all the false virtual names that she used to open bank accounts in multiple names. Anna Rublo, Rublo, that is, Anna Catalano, Aline Van Arden, Tamara Rothschild. It reads like a horror story to show that this just didn't happen overnight. This existed as far back as 20 to 30 years. Now you can imagine the damage that has done with regard to people, hundreds of thousands of people being victims of fraud, where money has been moved, not just to Vancouver, Canada, but we're also looking at Gibraltar, Malta, British Virgin Islands, the Cocos Islands, all involved with Andrea Davison's fraud network. And I welcome Mr. Richie Allen to let me present that, to question Andrea Davison in an open forum podcast. Well, and that's all I asked for.
He's not going to do it, Gordon. He'll probably be promoted now to a newsreader on the BBC.
Well, when he mentioned within the podcast that he did with Sean, he mentioned Sean Adel. Now, Sean Adel is Sean Tabatabaya. Do you know that?
Okay.
Now, when Sonia Poulton made that declaration about financial shenanigans going on at the People's Voice, what happened there was that Sonia Poulton made various disclaimers claiming that there was, skullduggery going on, why they were having more phone-ins and money-raising programs to get cash to carry on running the People's Voice. But there were people acting in control of David Icke that Sonia Poulton never knew about. But I'd already done the research into Sean Adel or Tabatabaya to show where there's another person of that name that operates out of the United States, and that includes his husband that he married later on. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because he became a very profiled gay partner who got married, and his network that he operates with. So Sonia Poulton contacted me.
Oh.
Yes, I've got it all on record, asking me with Dave Eden, the ex-Met police officer, to do my research into Sean Tabatabaya and David Icke and Mr. Richie Allen. And so I did that. I've got various files on them all. And so what I did do is I sent emails, which I've obviously got record of, to Sonia Poulton, and then Dave Eden came up to Derby to record an interview with me.
And that's when was that the time I was there, Gordon? Or was
well,
this
I
another
did two.
time?
I did
oh,
two
you done
with.
two.
One I did on my own with him.
Okay.
Previously, and then the second one. And I'd hoped that Sonia Poulton would have bitten her tongue and sort of stood on my pedestal where I gave her this information. And she's better forewarned and forearmed of where the bigger network goes with people like David Icke and Rich Allen. So if they want to attack me for being discourteous to thieves, crooks, and politicians, by all means. But show me some evidence where I've used capital letters, which I've always done. That is a sort of shout. That's all it is. But when it comes to a rant, you haven't seen me rant.
Well, I'd like to.
Not yet.
I'd like to. I'd like to report again. Just repeat what I said earlier, Gordon.
Yeah.
Richie Allen said he found that exposing Andrea Davison was distasteful.
Oh yeah.
That's from his. I mean, I listened to that last night.
Yes, I only picked it up late last night.
I was gobsmacked.
Well, I said disinformation by other organisations is quite common in the intelligence services.
Yeah.
And those people that operate internet radio shows can often use their methods. You know what they say about keep your friends close, but keep your enemies even closer. Is that you sometimes find people who work for the intelligence services. Is better you get the information that you can, which shows the depth of it, uncovering their skullduggery, and then they can act upon that. Do you understand?
Yeah, sure.
Is that when people believe that they're bleating their heart out to an alternative media expose, the powers to be then have a better idea as to how deep you have got into their system, and then they can slam doors or get rid of the problem.
Yes, so they think.
Yes, so they think. However, when there's people like yourself and George Leese who use a multi Facebook or YouTube, it then goes viral all over the world, and it's very hard to discredit people and close them down when all you're trying to do is get the truth out.
Yeah.
It's up to individuals to check some of the material that I've made accusations on people. But I did see yesterday that 5 companies went into suspension on the stock exchange, which was the Stellar Resources,
really,
UK Oil and Gas, Alba Minerals, and all the companies that were linked to David Lenegas operating this magnificent oil find near Gatwick.
Oh, yes.
So, whether they come out of suspension, I haven't checked yet, but I'm not really bothered because I've listed those to the Serious Fraud Office as being Ponzi scams.
Yeah.
Now, if they are allowed to trade, it shows the depth of corruption extends right into the top of the Serious Fraud Office.
The incredible...
Because these are just fake companies. They're just money laundering, organised crime systems for stealing money. That's all they are.
I mean, the amazing thing to me, Gordon, is they've been collared. They know they've been collared, and yet they're still doing it. I mean,
well, it shows the degree of complicity with politicians who are protecting them.
Of course.
Anglesey Mining PLC is one thing, but when you start to look at all the interlocking companies and how they have been able to move vast amount of money out of this country to Canada through a guy called Dinesh Kumar Varma, I name people because they must take me to court. If they think that I'm being, giving disinformation, libel, slander, let them take me to court because then I can put this in the public domain through a court case
Yeah, yeah.
is that they much the same as I did in Anglesey when I went down to give that PowerPoint presentation, is that I showed a second video which was trying to protect David Anthony Lenegas's brother by showing it, and which was a Skype interview that I did with Lucas, is to show that there's another side which will then protect Lucas.
And all this stuff is on YouTube and on the internet, Gordon.
Yeah.
It's all there for people to see with their own eyes.
That's right. I try to hide from nobody, but what I try to do is also be accurate with the documents, and that's what I say is that there is no more accurate than the say the director check or companies in the UK. These can all be used in a court of law. So when there's denial, where can the denial be? Because they're the people that filed the documents themselves. I just know what they're up to and how they do it and where the money goes. That's all I am. I'm just a guide. Yeah. So let's do it.
Well, listen, Gordon. I'm going to get this YouTube video out. I'm going to send it out as is.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to add the appropriate images.
Yeah, sorry about it. It's the light that's coming from a conservatory.
Yeah, I can see it. It's no problem, Gordon, because
you can darken it down. I think. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll find a way around it. But the most important thing is to get this information out, because you know, and then I'll re-edit it and I'll do what I can to make it more powerful. Well,
brilliant. Yeah. I'd say, you know, the challenge is that when I get ridiculed by people like Richie Allen, he has to show his research on the subject matter. Now I can show my research because they're all filed in court documents. Now he has to show me what research he has done on Andrea Davison, and it can only be the information that was fed to him by David Icke.
Yes.
That's all he's got.
Yes.
Now, try to get him to show you some of the court case files, and we'll see where we go from there. But don't just ridicule me for using capital letters and being abusive on Facebook. I don't like people that steal from little people.
No.
And I like even less people who profess to have been in Her Majesty's intelligence services without offering one document to prove that case.
Well,
I can show all my discharge papers in the Royal Air Force and the commendations that I had.
Well,
let's put it to the test. Let's make a challenge to Richie Allen and his radio show, and see if he's got the kahunas, as they call them, to put a three-way podcast, and we'll see who's telling the truth.
Well, I mean, I've heard that David Icke's had a nervous breakdown. You know, I think.
Did you that?
Well, it was on. I found an interview. I think it was with Jim Fetzer and Richie Allen.
Yeah.
It was one of these because I spent half the night listening to this guy. I mean, it's just unbelievable. What I think's happened to David Icke is I think the shape-shifting lizards have got hold of him.
Yeah, well, he is a Freemason. You know that.
Sorry?
He is a Freemason.
Yeah, I know that. And I also know...
he's part of the Isle of Wight Freemasonry network.
Exactly. And I also know that there's another certain person whose father is a Freemason.
Yeah.
So they all work together. And, I mean, they're coming down. As simple as that.
Well, I don't believe people like Richie Allen are quite open when it comes to who set him up into this radio show.
He could be
funders and backers.
He could well be a victim himself.
He may be. I'm not disputing his professionalism as a radio presenter. I'm not that. I'm just a normal guy. But what I am far better at is understanding document recovery and then weighing it up myself as to who's telling the truth and where's the evidence. Show me the evidence. Well, I've got it. He must show me his.
That's all the police keep saying to me. Show me the evidence.
Yeah.
Norman Baker said, "Show me the evidence." And,
Well, let me tell you something.
And now he's just lost his seat in Parliament. The last time I wrote to him, he said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm no longer an MP," and I thought, "Well, I'm not surprised."
If you use direct to check, listen to me carefully.
Yep.
And you put Lord William Hall into direct to check, you'll come across a company that operated out of One Park Row, Leeds.
Yes.
And it's the Parliamentary Broadcast Unit.
Ah.
Now that all the directors were ITV and BBC, and our friend Mr. Baker, along with Right Honourable Margaret Beckett from Derby, and quite a few other prominent MPs and lords are all listed there.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what I believe that is, because if you check the first founding director of that, it's Lord William Hall.
Yes.
From the first date. He then resigns a bit down after he's instigated this. And One Park Row, Leeds is also the address of Pinsent Mason.
Exactly.
Which is linked to the asset stripping of over $1 billion of the financial assets of Gerald Carroll.
Gerald Carroll Foundation Trust.
That's right.
Yes.
So, also out of One Park Row, Leeds, is multiple fake oil, gas and mining companies. So,
yeah.
As I said, all I am is a good router for documents and then putting it together to show, well, this goes beyond coincidence. Let's have a debate and let's see who's telling the lies and where the money is going from all these billion-pound frauds. Let's get it back. Let's
Yes.
help the National Health Service. Let's help the police, the fire services, cancer research. You don't have to send adverts via Sky and Virgin to send £2 a month to little Sizwe in Gambia, who's drinking dirty, filthy, malaria-ridden water. No, let's get Mr. Richard Branson and Mr. Murdoch to donate £1 billion and save all the little pensioners who are starving to death, cutting their heating down to send £2 a month. Let's do it that way.
And these very same pensioners, Gordon, their fuel bills are going up 20% a year back to back.
Yeah, well, trust me.
I mean, it's disgusting. Especially when, all these people are billionaires for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the greed.
You don't become billionaires by giving your billions away, do you?
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, there you go.
This is fantastic, Gordon. Shall we... Do
Yeah.
you want anything else before we round this up? Because I'm dying to get this out on YouTube and Facebook. I've got some fantastic friends on Facebook. Trust me.
Yeah, good. And my regards to Lillian and Richie, who sent me kind wishes because of my little problem that I got.
Yes, I understand, Gordon.
Yeah, all right, perfect.
Thank you very much, my friend. Let's hammer them.
Yeah, okay. Take care.
Take care, Gordon. Speak soon.
Yeah. And no swearing, eh?
I'll try not to, but listen, these MPs have been fucking kids for generations. So, I mean, that's swearing, isn't it?
Oh.
But never mind. You take care, my friend.
And use capitals, eh? Because Richie Allen loves capitals.
Yeah. Okay.
Okie doke.
Cheers, Gordon.
Cheers, pal.
Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.